Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to a very special episode of 2-Bit Talks. Today I have Donovan and Jonathan with me. Say hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
Nice. Anyway, guys, we're here to celebrate the second year of the channel, and I was about to actually say the 200th year of the channel. The second year.
Yay, 200 years, we're vampires.
No, the second anniversary.
Spark vampires.
Yeah, the second anniversary of the channel, and also we've hit over 200 subscribers. Guys, your opinion's been here for 2 years, and hitting the 200 subscriber mark.
I'm gonna retire. I'm good.
What about you?
I'd say it's been a wild ride, trying to do this kind of stuff in our free time. It's very hard to find that free time, but it's rewarding creatively to me. I just like having an outlet and being able to hang out and talk to you fuckers.
Oh.
Not you.
Oh.
Not you. You guys purposely avoid each other in the production meetings.
The royal,
awkward
yeah.
When you weren't on the phone, it was just me and him. It was silence.
Right. That was awkward.
Pure silence. Well, anyway, guys, let's open this. I thought it'd be maybe a cool thing to kind of talk about the origins of the channel, and for that we have to go all the way back to around 2012. 2012.
In the year 2000.
Oh God, no.
To do that.
Oh God. Well, Donovan, you take it from here, because the origins of the channel started with Donovan, and I believe we were at band practice, or we were talking about something to do with the band, and then you mentioned something, right, about doing a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I brought it up with you. I was drunk, of course, and I've been watching a bunch of Angry Video Game Nerd, and was getting into Nostalgia Critic and things like that. And I was like at the time there wasn't too many out there, if I remember correctly. And I was like, man, we could do something like this. I mean, we play video games all the fucking time. That's all we do. And I had this cool idea where it would be me and you, Shawn, playing co-op games and just reviewing them and doing things like that. And you were completely uninterested. You didn't give a shit. You're like, yeah, sure. I was like, all right. And that's where it died, and we never did it again.
Until 1 year later, I had started getting into Angry Video Game Nerd, Pat the NES Punk, and a bunch of other retro gaming people. And then I'm like, hey, Donovan, I think we could do this. And then you're like, I said that a year ago.
Yeah, I think you had moved at that point to...
No, I had almost moved, because we were getting things together. You were getting your basement ready because we had made a list of games we were going to review, and you were getting everything ready. We hadn't written
the
script.
First game we were going to review was actually Street Fighter 1. Oh, Streets of Rage. I'm sorry.
Streets of Rage 1.
And I'd actually written up a partial script of you got captured. It was me and you got captured like a Saw type movie.
Yeah.
We were in the basement, and a mysterious guy named Mr. X is going to appear on the screen, and basically, you were going to be this positive outlook on video games, and I was going to be this negative outlook on video games, and we were just going to, it was kind of like the Odd Couple, but stuck in a Saw type atmosphere.
Yeah, and then I moved. Yeah, and
then I'm sitting over there twiddling my thumbs, doing my normal shit, working, doing other things, and
yeah, other things.
And all of a sudden you're like, hey, can you do this shit for me? I'm making a YouTube thing. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Well, I had to do something. I was sitting on my ass, in Indiana for a few months, so I was just like, I need to do something with my life.
He was like an actual Saw prisoner in Indiana.
Yes.
By himself with no friends, trapped.
Yes. Trapped in this flat land. And that's kind of that's how it started. And I essentially took the first year, or at least the first 6 months of the channel. The reviews that I did were pretty much, a lot of them, just from the original list that me and you had made, Donovan.
Yeah.
And
Jonathan ended up coming in somehow.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
And
Jonathan. This is
he started doing the good writing and
Yeah.
basically the whole storyboard for Shawn.
yeah. I was gonna say this is kind of where you enter in, Jonathan. When did you start becoming a part of the project and the reviews?
Well, if you know anything about me, you know I have the memory of a goldfish. I don't know. I don't remember that shit. I remember connecting back with you after you had moved away for a while. You know, of course, after you moved away, you were dead to me. Like everyone's just sort of dead to me who moves away. You know, like if I don't have any contact with you for a couple of months, you're like garbage to me.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm just like street and I'm like garbage to you.
So after that, I don't know. You just got in contact with me one day, and you were just like, "Hey, you want to help me out with this?" And I think it all started with the podcast. We just did a couple of podcast episodes together, and then I started watching some of your reviews and stuff that you had done with Donovan, and it was just sort of a natural thing to bring me on as a sort of a co-head writer.
Well, the funny thing is that, like, and I'm sorry, Jonathan, like, me, you, and Shawn used to do this, like, when we were teenagers. Like, we'd walk down the streets and just talk about these different stories that we
dude,
stuff like that. So we'd always have this, like, weird connection of where it just flows great with us.
Yeah, I remember we had written graphic novels in our minds 100 times, you know, like just stuff that we thought would be cool that we never had a chance to. Sorry, I'm playing a game. We never had a chance to.
Who's really focused on this thing?
You know, like especially having starting to get girlfriends and stuff, and jobs and all that stuff. It just we just meshed well. So of course, when this thing came up, I was like, yeah, I'll join in, and that's sort of like how it happened, just podcasting and then writing for the reviews.
Well, that's the other thing about Shawn is, like, it's weird. Like, you were saying that you're dead. A person's dead to you if they haven't talked to you in months. But Shawn has this weird way about him where he comes into your life and he's like, I am
comes into my wife. What?
comes in your life. But he's so passionate about both those things that, like, you can't just, like, ignore him. He's like, we're going to do this, and it's going to be great, and everything's positive, and everything's wonderful. And you're just like, okay, dude, this sounds great. And you kind of just do it.
Yeah. You do it to humor him. He's almost like a Make-A-Wish kid.
Oh my god.
Poor pathetic guy. I'll do it for you.
Poor guy. He thinks there's hope in life.
Which is always funny because you would say that. You'd be like, any story that me and you wrote, or songs or things like that, you'd be like, you'd always have this like outlook of like happiness at the end, and all mine were like, and everyone suffers and your grandmother dies.
Yes. And your girlfriend gets run over. Your gimmick for the channel, Donovan, has always been, and as much as we joke about how Jonathan's gimmick, of course, is Google Cardboard or anything, from any watch or technology thing, your gimmick for a while, Donovan, was masturbating on things.
On things.
Doesn't matter what it was.
Yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, I love that game. I just want to masturbate all over. Ooh, I love this movie. I just want to jerk off on it. That's what it was. You would like to jerk off on.
There's always at least one in the podcast.
Yes, at least one. And then there was that.
It was usually 100% masturbation jokes, actually.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, those were my go-to because I didn't want to go with the other horrible jokes I want to do. So I went with the lesser, masturbation.
But
Holocaust jokes, you mean?
But I do remember we went one podcast and we hadn't said anything, and then Donovan mentioned it. He's like, guys, I haven't said a single masturbation joke.
The early
and none
podcasts,
of you noticed.
The early podcasts, especially the ones where it was like me, you, Donovan, and Zach. Like he Donovan. That was the running joke, is like no matter what we were talking about, we could be talking about bouquets or flowers or freaking race. Yeah, whatever it is, Donovan would find a way to pleasure himself sexually with it. Robots, of course. It's like remember the Disney Watch segment? Half of what he said was about how the Disney Watch would be able to tell if you were holding your dick.
Oh, God, I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Great times. Which let's get into that aspect a little bit. We talked, of course, about this is just talking about the channel in general, and we talked about the origins of the review there. But about the the podcast, let's talk about that a little bit. I actually wanted to get you guys together last year and talk about this, but I was still in Indiana at the time. But
R.I.P. R.I.P. 2-Bit Podcast.
R.I.P. Well, I mean, it still exists. It's just been changed into the 2-Bit Talks. But yeah. But no, of course, initially everyone knows. I asked you both to come on. I remember that fateful first podcast. We talked about Batman v Superman. And we talked about, I think it was the Super Nintendo PlayStation prototype, and there was something else, some other stuff we talked about.
The one podcast I actually remember is the one where you played us that Super Mario song.
Oh, yeah.
Or that had lyrics to it, and I remember just dying laughing to that one.
Oh, yeah, that was a classic. And I remember this when we got, because it was just us three in the first one. And then Jonathon's like, "Hey, I want to bring on my friend. I think he'd be a good. You were saying that he'd be a good fit or something like that." And me and Donovan were kind of being
apprehensive,
I don't know this guy. And then he joined up, and it ended up being.
He loves it.
Yeah, he was awesome. Which, by the way, Zach, if you're listening, you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, rest in peace, Zach.
Rest in peace, Zach. But yeah, those first few podcasts were, I still look back and watch videos from those first podcasts, and I just lots of laughs. It was a lot of fun.
So that's where all the views are coming from.
Yes, it's coming from me.
So with you bringing up that, what would you say your guys' favorite 2-bit review is?
Oh, we're switching gears to the review already?
I am.
The ones that I wrote.
So, all of Season 2 and the end of Season 1.
I liked the Christmas episode where Tanny throws him out and he has to go live in the laundry room. I like that one a lot, the Home Alone episode.
Oh, yeah, that...
yeah.
Oh, a little background on that. Donovan was supposed to be Santa Claus.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Little director's commentary here.
Yes. Donovan was supposed to, and the reason when we shot it, the reason I was sitting down is the angle was supposed to be on me there, and then we would cut to Donovan, and he would have a scene where the camera's facing up at him, and he's dressed as Santa Claus.
Yeah. I was going through some things during that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There was, there was some.
I missed out on
the arraignment, the conviction. Yeah, we know.
Yeah. So he wasn't able to do it, so I had to put a bunch of different pictures of Santa Claus in there, and all that. But yeah, I remember that one was fun. For me, just because I don't know why I like the scenes of me walking to the laundromat in the snow. I really liked that, and then of course the whole me hiding in the closet.
And then coming out of the closet.
Coming out of the closet. Yeah.
So too real, man. It's too real.
Yeah. Art imitates life.
Yeah.
So that was your favorite one. What about you, Donovan? What was your favorite one?
Probably the Ghostbuster one.
Which one? Which one? The first one or the
first one with the little girls?
The one where you guys dance for like 15 straight minutes?
Oh, yeah.
No, I fast forward that every time. I'm like, I cannot watch them dance for that long. Like, it's such a long dance sequence. It's so long. Go back and watch it. It's like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 4 fucking minutes of you dancing in a Ghostbusters outfit.
It's just padding. We gotta make this video longer.
Why?
Honestly,
if you ads for Google cartoons.
yes, exactly. No, honestly, especially that was my third video I ever made.
Yeah.
So
That's why I like it, because it is like one of those, like, you can tell it's like your beginning videos.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing. Like he said, the 4 minute long cuts.
Yes.
You're your daughter's outstanding acting, all that stuff. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Well, you can't blame him for that. I mean, they're just there for cuteness.
no,
They're-
they're taking off their debt. But it always had this idea where I was gonna have my daughter come in there and make fun of him for having his daughters in his videos.
Oh yeah.
Where I was gonna have my daughter be like a little Satan and be like, "I'm just here for cuteness."
What about you? What about you, Shawn? Like your favorite? Like if you not from a I made it this way standpoint, but from like your favorite one to watch.
My favorite one to watch. That's tough for me because every single one I watch, I see all my flaws and fuck ups I did. I'm trying.
That's the artist's problem right there, always.
Yeah.
But if there,
You know, Salvador Dali was the same way. Every time he looked at one of his paintings, he's like, "That clock could be meltier."
I'm trying to think though of.
That was like the best reference, Jonathan. I swear, that was good.
I would probably say, like which one was like what was my personal favorite. Is probably still there's two that I like for different reasons actually, but one or my personal favorite is my very first one, Streets of Rage,
Nice.
because with that, even though that review has a lot of flaws in it, and as Donovan said, you can tell, oh, this guy is just beginning. I could just tell that I had so much passion for that game. And all that, and it really came across. That's what I like about it. I sit back and I watch it, and which I do. I really love that game, and I really, you could really tell in that video. The second one was Dark Forces, and me playing Darth 2-Bit, because
Yeah.
I really went out of my normal element for that. And
You pulled it off well too.
Thank you. I was gonna say at the end of the night my voice was so like crackly and sore because of the voice I was doing. But I when I look back at that, I was like, oh wow, I went out of my comfort zone.
Weren't you acting against yourself as well? Weren't you like Darth 2-Bit attacking? Well, who were you shooting lightning at? I can't remember.
I was shooting lightning at you, horse.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, I guess one other question on the review with that was, who was your favorite character in the whole series?
Donovan, let's count down to 3, 2, 1, and we'll both say our favorite character. All right, we're gonna see if we match up.
Okay.
You ready?
All right.
You got your favorite character?
Yeah.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. 2-Bit.
Horse Jesus. No, he's my 2-Bit Jesus. He was my least favorite.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, which horse Jesus? Because there's two horses.
There's 3, right?
There's 2. There's only 2.
It's the Donnie one, because his stupid commentary. No offense, Jonathan. His stupid commentary was always cracking me up. Even when he was when he would get on the podcast with us and do his. Remember that time he did that Yoda voice over and over? And
Oh yeah.
Frustrated.
What was he saying? Oh yeah, he was saying, I am afraid.
Yeah, I am
very
afraid. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
No, but he still has one of the best lines in the whole series, and I still say it and quote it. Alas, bad gas.
Yeah.
Which
it was just one of those like off the wall, top of his head type things that he did, and it always cracks me up.
Yeah.
And which I don't know if I ever told you this or not, Jonathan, but Donnie liked where you took the character.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fine. He was Horse Jesus. It was based on his whole personality and what he brought to the original podcast. And when we took Horse Jesus and made him a more driving force in that narrative, the way I wrote him was completely different than anything that Donnie would have ad-libbed or acted himself. So the character, in my opinion, changed. I mean, all the little catchphrases and the off-the-wall sort of stuff that he would say kind of went out the window when I started writing him, because I'm more direct and, according to Zach, not funny at all. So
Wow. Okay.
Horse Jesus became Frylock when I started writing Horse Jesus. So he became the plot guy.
Me personally, it's my kids. I still love. We still quote, especially the line with Indigo going, "You're not funny," and then Odie was still learning to talk. She goes, "You're not funny,"
Yeah.
So it was.
Yeah.
I still love. They're probably my favorite character. I just love that. This dad desperately trying to be cool with his daughters, and then them going "fuck off." So
But I did not think that you were cool at all.
yeah.
All right, so here's a question for you, Shawn. If you could go back and restart the whole series, what would you change to make it better?
To make it better, well, first off, I would fire me.
Get someone popular that people like.
Yeah, like,
Yes.
like PewDiePie or something.
PewDiePie, yeah.
I would have hired PewDiePie.
One, I guess the only thing I probably would have changed was, not like I feel like I did way too much in my first year where I was going, I'm gonna have 2 reviews a month, and it was just like a lot of editing and just a lot of I enjoyed the reviews I made back then, but looking back now, it's just like I would have wanted to take more time with a review and really kind of work on it instead of doing the month to month thing. Kind of we're the direction we're going in now. So, yeah. But that's something that I would probably change was just the back then I was just rushing going because I had just started. I'm like, oh, we don't have hardly any videos. And I talked to some other YouTubers, and a lot of their critiques was, well, I like some of the videos you have, but you just don't have a whole lot of content, And they're like, you gotta get more videos up.
You gotta sling that tent, baby.
Yeah. So that was my main drive when I first started. And looking back, I'm like, I could have taken more time here or there, on reviews. And I would have probably been less stressed out going, oh, I got to get this review done. I only have a week. So that's what I would have changed. What about you guys? Anything you would have changed in what you did in the channel?
Yeah, I would probably have. We have a real here at John Co. We have a real first draft, last draft attitude where we'll spend an hour writing the first draft, and then we'll never go back and touch it up. So there's some lines and stuff where it's sort of you can tell the placeholder joke was left in. Oh, but yeah, I mean, I wish we had the time to do more live streams.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually do too.
We did a couple of Halo live streams and maybe that was the plan from early on was to do live streams every so often, but it just fell through. We never really could come together on the live stream aspect of the channel, and we have kids and lives and stuff, so it's hard to schedule that kind of stuff, especially when you're writing and doing the podcast and stuff like that. But I wish we just had a little bit more time to round out that triangle, you know what I mean? To get that trifecta. But
though I think that now we can kind of work around it a little bit more because we still have our own lives and everything like that. But I think that if we make sure that just 2 of us, 2-bit and one other person gets on at least once a week or every 2 weeks or something like that, maybe we could actually put this in there more often because I know that you and Jonathon and Shawn, now you 2 can probably play if I'm busy and vice versa.
Yeah.
I know I can play with Shawn.
And then also
we could even do a Jonathon Donovan duo and really just be sarcastic and hate each other the whole thing and be silent.
I was also going to say with you guys now having full access on the channel, you guys are able to stream because you can log in and use the stream key. So you don't even have to rely on me doing it. If you guys have, but you guys would have to have. I don't know if you guys have a capture card or not.
Yeah,
But
I could set it up. Like I said,
I had no idea.
like I said early on, I wish we would have had more of that.
yeah.
Now, I mean, it's not something we can't change, but 200 subscribers in, it took us 2 years to get that many. I just feel like if we would have done weekly live streams at least every week for those 2 years, it would have drawn in more subscribers.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it was
Mario-
definitely yeah.
Mario Maker, Shawn, that you did by yourself, you drew in a huge crowd just by doing that.
Yeah. The streams were drawing the live streams were drawing people in. To this date, if you guys look in the analytics, that is still the top video. Is the Mario Maker Mondays, was the live streams. It still has garnered the most views, though the Retro Pie loaded with ROMs video is getting really close to surpassing that. That video is popular. And it was a simple video. It's like a 2-3 minute long video.
But yeah, it was part of the podcast. It was a podcast segment.
Yeah, it was a podcast segment, and
let's just make the pact right now that we're going to get back to live streaming, and that we'll do one a month or something, just to say that we're going to get back into it.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I was actually going to say that in my update video a few days ago, but I decided not to. I was like, because what if things fall through? But especially with how we're now doing the reviews, where we're going to be having the reviews as a big project that we work and get done over a longer period of time, I was just like, doing at least one 2-Bit Talks video a week. Sorry, not a month. Doing a 2-Bit Talks video a week and doing at least one live stream a week will help keep, so there'll always be a constant flow of content. I want there to be at least one video or live stream every week on the channel. So yeah, I'll make the pact now to hold myself to it. I'm gonna try to get Mario Maker Mondays back up and running. I don't know if it's still like a popular thing now because it's been
Well, I mean, Mario Maker 2 is gonna happen eventually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, who knows, man? Like,
And not only that, it's Mario. It's the name Mario. You just put Mario in there. I'm pretty sure someone will search for that.
we can do whatever. Let's get back to the discussion of how the past 2 years has affected our lives and how all of our families have basically fallen apart because of the channel.
By the way, thank you, Shawn, for that. It's all your fault.
It's all my fault. Oh, okay.
I mean, honestly, I blame you, Shawn, and that envelope with the strange white powder that arrived on your doorstep the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit of a slave driver. I'm sorry.
No, I would say you're more like a slave whiner.
A slave whiner.
You guys, we gotta do this writing.
Are you guys ready yet? Come on, guys.
Hurry up! Fix your mic, Donovan.
For me, how it's affected me, it's especially the first year, it totally took over my entire life. That's what I did.
Oh, I bet.
I lived and I breathed it. All I was doing was editing all day, and then take the girls outside for them to play for a couple hours, come back inside.
Like a prison warden.
Yeah.
1 hour break. Get out there.
Gotta let them feel the sun for 30 minutes.
Now get back in your Ghostbuster costume.
No, Odie, the line is, "You're not funny, Daddy."
Dance
Say
for
it
me,
again.
Dance.
No, but no.
I want to do it anymore.
But no, but no, yeah, it did, like, especially the editing part, especially the podcast. Like, the reviews weren't too bad, like, as far as editing goes. I could knock that out, within the span of a couple of days if I took my time on it. But the podcast was usually at least 2 hours long. And then once you add in all of the flubs and the fuck-ups, I would spend days editing that.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
That's funny because, at first, talking to my wife about it, I was like, hey, Shawn's, we're hooking back up and we're talking. He wants me to do a podcast with him. And at first she was very apprehensive and sort of like defensive of like her time with me. And, after the first podcast, she was like, I want to support you. And and then the next podcast we did, I was like, well, Shawn wants to talk about 4 things. And after the podcast, I came to bed. She was like, "It took you 3.5 hours to talk about 4 things." And I was like, "Yeah, Donovan would not stop making masturbation jokes."
That's why she always gives me those looks when she walks through the door. When you guys are over, not just by yourself, FYI, everybody.
So yeah. I mean, it hasn't been that big of a deal for me. I remember. Jamie, my oldest, he was 10 or 11 at the time when we first started, and he got like super jealous because he wanted to talk about video games, and there was a couple of moments where he kept trying to pop up in front of the camera and stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And he wanted to be a part of it, and I was trying to explain to him that there was a guy on the other end who was talking about touching peepees a lot. And he just wasn't, he wasn't mature enough for it. But anyway,
he also threatened to hack Donovan. You remember that, Donovan?
But yeah, I mean, it's
how
fine.
old is he? By the way, he was 11 at the time, right?
He's 12 now.
He already knew about touching peepees. Hate to tell you.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've had a great time with it. I sometimes play the review videos, and my 7-year-old will be like, geez, ass, and he'll walk out of the room.
You're
go watch
that younger audience, Shawn.
He'll go watch Dan TDM or something,
Oh, that's
so. Out of curiosity, where would you like the show to go from here?
To go from here?
Yeah.
I really liked this last episode that we had. I really like the flow and rhythm of that. So I would like to go that route. Insert a lot more Jonathon humor into it, though. That was the one thing missing from this.
Or, as Zach says.
If you ask Zach, you're going in the right direction by cutting me out.
Yeah, just cut him out.
No, but I like the flow of that. It's going to be a tough road ahead, getting all this stuff done. But I think once it's done and everything, once we got this project done and we move on to the next one, it's going to be a steady flow. It's not even going to be like, well, we'll be working on all the episodes, but the viewers, it'll just be like, oh, here's the set of 2-bit, reviews here, and that keeps them satiated, all 2 of them, until the next batch and all that. So I'm hoping that this formula that we're trying out is going to be successful. And I really think, because we've been getting a lot of positive feedback on this recent episode.
That's because there's that sexy British bastard in it. That's the only reason we're getting
Pete.
Yeah,
it's all the
he made that episode, man. Hey, man. Let's see if I can impersonate him a little bit.
Oh, dude, let's go.
Streets of Rage 3 came out on the.
Sounds like Australian British.
Sega Genesis.
No,
I can't. I mean, he was great. To have him come in and do the voiceover. It was a great guest spot. I think the format's going to work great for guest spots like that, especially after this episode, which I feel like is a total bait and switch to the viewer. But like you said, 2 viewers, it's not a big deal for viewership, and also you don't want to overwork yourself, for a couple hundred people who probably aren't watching many of your videos. So to take it a little bit slower and spend a little bit more time on the reviews is exactly, the mistake you made before that you're trying to correct. So I mean, I don't have a problem with I don't have a problem with the direction that it's going. I think it's fine. Plus there's no, I mean, the serialized aspect of it, there's no overarching, a story, a season arc, you know what I mean? It's just going to be episodic, it's going to be a standard format, episodic, sort of
it's
easier to write. Yeah.
What was your favorite moments in the podcast, Jonathon? What was like
the
the moment
podcast?
that like
There
that
was,
made you die laughing, or like that
you know,
stuck with you the most?
there are so many great moments from the podcast, and I think this is a great point in the video to like ask in the comments, put like your favorite moment from the podcast if you have one, because I'd love to have like just from the podcast videos we could vote on best Donovan masturbation joke. We could vote on
the cardboard Jonathan
yes,
jokes.
best person interrupting Zach when he's trying to say something.
Yeah.
Best interruption in general, like like best
That's
art,
all we do.
best item,
like I'm doing right now.
best item plug. The longest 2-bit sigh.
Oh my god.
What, did I sigh a lot?
Oh my
Well,
god.
yeah, I mean, like me or Donovan would go off on a tangent, and you go, "All right, guys, we got to get back on track here."
You were always trying to pull us back in, and we were never on track.
The best failed 2-bit rain in, like you would say, "All right, quit making those kind of jokes," and then Donovan would just go straight for the Hitler shit again, whatever.
Yeah. You guys know there was a certain point where I gave up. There were lots of podcasts where I would just have a glass of whiskey in my hand while we did it.
I think there was an actual video, like, I think we started with you already having the whiskey in your hand. You were,
Yes.
like, ready for the fucking podcast.
Yes.
I'll tell you, like, one of my favorite segments was, I always envisioned myself as sort of like the tech guy, the guy who would talk about tech and talk about like, news items having to do with science, technology. And I was talking about the Galaxy S7, and Zach kept interrupting me with Star Wars questions.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that played really well and ended up cracking Shawn up a lot. And then I don't know, I think that went pretty well.
Oh,
But,
Jonathan, no, the best moment on the podcast was when we were picking our favorite video games. I can't even remember my favorite video game, but Shawn came in there with like Geo Simulator or something.
Geopolitical Simulator 3.
yeah, we just ragged him for we love taxes and shit.
God, it even went on to the next segment. We were still making fun of him for that shit.
They posted like a week later.
Oh yeah, that was a fun time. Sure.
Geopolitical simulator. Yeah, but some of the best moments came out of just like tangents or just like somebody making a joke about something we were talking about. If it was a Disney watch or if it was a new video game or whatever, just goofing off and shooting the shit, would usually turn into something funny.
One of my favorites is, and I love this when I put it in there, was when Donnie was trying to figure out how to what genre was it Hateful Eight was, and then Donovan said spaghetti western, and I inserted spaghetti from Tim and Eric.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
They're coming back, by the way, this week,
Oh,
a week or
awesome.
so. Yeah.
Great job.
Great job.
Awesome job.
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying to think of one of my favorite moments. I remember that especially it turned into a game for you guys, how you guys could get me to get off subject and go on into one of your little tangents.
The rabbit hole.
The rabbit hole, yeah. You guys tried to get me to go into the rabbit hole, and you guys succeeded sometimes.
So what was your least favorite? Like, what was the moment where you got frustrated with us the most? Which one was that? Because I always assumed that it was the Donnie thing, where he kept doing that Yoda thing over and over again.
That one wasn't too bad.
Was it the masturbation?
Quite afraid. I am quite afraid.
I am quite afraid.
To be honest, especially the later podcast, I was already halfway to being drunk when we started. So it's kind of a blur. There were some rough things going on in my life at that time, so some of those podcasts was just me dreading getting off the podcast. So
we all went through some weird moments during season 2, especially before the end of season 1, which is probably why you notice this huge change in tone too. Like the writing, I know on your end, Jonathan and Shawn, everybody you kind of art. What is it? Art. What's the
Imitating life?
Yeah, imitating life. Thank you. Art imitating life. but you can see it seeping into it, like the frustration
Sure.
and the stress and everything like that kind of like pushes in there, especially during the podcast. But those are the funnest moments because it's actually like the moments that I look forward to, where I was like escaping that world of reality and being like, I'm just gonna make fun of shit and talk about masturbation because that's the best joke I have. And
Yeah.
I will say that, and you can quote me all day on this. My favorite moment, and it just hit me. My favorite moment from the podcast and from the 2-Bit channel, almost my favorite moment from my entire life, is when Sony won the bidding war for the Emoji Movie. We decided to make an episode of the podcast for it.
Oh my
And
god!
I fucking nailed the plot and the star of that movie. And we also made a conglomerated decision that the movie was going to suck balls, and we were not wrong. As a matter of fact, we said after the movie was cast, we went back and made another episode about how we got it right, because I'd said a year before T.J. Miller was going to be in the movie, and he ended up being the lead character.
I think I missed the second part of that podcast.
He made another prediction too.
I'm gonna have to go rewatch that.
With E3 this year, where he's like T.J. Miller would descend onto the stage like dressed as an emoji character or something like that, and he didn't do it at E3, but he did it like that week somewhere else, where he like parasailed onto a boat in a yellow emoji suit. It was like Jonathon was on a whole other wavelength with that emoji movie.
Hey, Shawn, can you do me a favor and take those moments from the podcast, cut them, and then insert them with scenes from the Emoji Movie and that him walking on with the emoji outfit, and just make a short, 2-minute video of that, of Jonathon predicting it, and it actually fucking happening.
Do a whole video of Jonathon predicts. Yeah.
Just that small segment. It doesn't even have to be a minute or 2 minutes. Just put it there.
As a matter of fact,
great.
I'm looking back through our playlist for the podcast right now, and we made Blade Runner 2 begins production. We made a 9-minute podcast about that. I bet there's some predictions in there. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff we talk about when these little things happen that end up coming true. So
I love the predictions where we sit there and try to predict movies and if they're gonna.
Superman versus Batman. We nailed that one.
Yeah.
We talked about early speculation about twists and stuff like that. And I went into it and said, it's probably not going to happen. The movie's going to suck, and it ended up not being a good movie. So
Yeah.
No, but the best one with the emoji. You're right, Jonathan. We should, Shawn, definitely do that. Cut it like a 2-minute video of just with clips from Jonathan saying something on the podcast, and then clips of what the plot's about and everything.
Yeah. Well, I'd probably have to say I'm trying to think of the moment I got the most frustrated. I've been thinking long on this.
Long and hard.
Yeah.
Long and hard. And it might be the most frustrated I ever got, might have been quite possibly the geopolitical simulator thing.
Because we made so much fun of you?
Well, I was trying to talk about, I was like, okay, these are my favorite games, and I just was gotten ragged on, and I wanted to continue on from there, and then you guys kept bringing it up, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, you can't just walk away from a turd that big and fucking drop it in the middle of the living room, dude. We're going to keep dragging you back and shoving your nose in it. That's how it goes.
Bad, Shawn. Bad. No.
Bad. Again, probably my favorite moment on the chat, one of my most cherished memories, and Jonathon doesn't even remember this. This is just like a normal day in Jonathon's life, so he didn't think anything of it, but we were doing the Mario Maker live stream, and then we started talking a little bit about politics, and then you started I mentioned something about how my grandfather had, been big in the politics scene back in the day, and you're like, he didn't give Bentley his start, did he? And then you made this whole tangent of, that like a Terminator spoof. It's just like he goes back in time. It's like, I'm here to stop George Fletcher from creating a governor who would be
And you know what? I bet I made a prediction about how he's gonna come out with the sex tape.
Yes, it's like who's totally ineffectual to people of what was it, of faith or of no faith and of color, and it was just funny, this little tangent you went on, and then get to the chopper, you just like did an Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonate. It just still to this day I go back and watch that and laugh.
You know what? While you're editing the prediction I made about emoji, you should just make a best of. Make like 2 or 3 videos, like a best of Donovan, best of Jonathan, best of Zach, and then like just make like a best of like reel, just like a quick like 1 minute reel for each of us, because there is a lot of highlights and stuff from the podcast episodes that deserve like a little bit of like some shit that Donovan has said that has just cracked me up so hard, like especially from the podcast. And it's usually when he's frustrating you when I find him the most hilarious.
And then you always join in, and I love it, Jonathan, because you're always coming in there like fucking pissing him off extra more.
Well, the telltale sign of me being frustrated with Donovan is me going, "God damn it, Donovan."
Yep.
Yeah. That feeds me more. I'm like, feel the hate.
That's when Donovan knows he's getting under my skin, when I'm like, "God damn it, Donovan."
Donovan loves
and it's usually always the jerk-off jokes, and that's why I get them so much, is because at a certain point you were just like, "God damn it," every single time I said a jerk-off joke.
I'm telling you, it's because the most mundane thing that could come out of his mouth, and you're going to be like, "Yeah, like your mom," or "Yeah, like your mom touched my penis," or whatever, you know? It's like...
You know, jerk off to that shit, and then he would go, "God damn it," because I knew that he had to edit. Somehow he had to edit the fuck out of things.
Yep.
Yeah.
It makes his job harder.
Yeah, it's gonna soon be your job, Donovan. So.
Well, now I got to get my computer fixed.
Yeah, true that. But
I'll go buy one, I guess.
That'll be a lot to go through. I'll start on it though. But we have a lot of videos, guys.
Well, I mean. Yeah, we can, like I said, if anybody watching this really is a fan and they want to, just, send us a message or put in the comments, just put in the comments, just timestamps of what you think deserves to go in an all-time best of highlight reel. And, let us know what you think is like your favorite moments or your favorite jokes, your favorite masturbation reference.
Yeah.
And,
your favorite review.
I also love that.
Yeah, favorite review.
Grandma used to listen to our fucking show.
Yeah. Your favorite grandma joke. We got to put a lot more of those in there.
Yeah. Oh,
hi,
another
grandma.
One last segment that I really fucking love to always go back and watch on. I think we hit it out of the park. Was the Pornhub the Pornhub topic, when we all just went off and that was a really good memory. Just a lot of laughs with that one. We had a lot of fun with that topic.
I still go back to the geopolitical simulator. I was
the Pornhub like viewing statistics.
Yeah, and then we're like, because we were making fun.
Found out how many people were watching Pornhub on the Wii.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
way too many, by the way. Way too many. I would say to anybody who's interested, anybody that's enjoyed the podcast or the reviews, just comment down below anything that you'd like to see in a all-time favorites highlight reel, like best jokes, best masturbation reference, best piss off Shawn moments. Because there's a lot of stuff to dig through. We had a lot of podcast episodes and we've had a lot of reviews, but
we've had a lot of fun doing it. But make sure you put a timestamp when you put it in the comments.
Yeah, just like 2 minutes into this podcast episode, Donovan talked about masturbation, and it's like, well, that's
like every episode.
2 minutes into every episode. So if you want to see something in the highlight reel, just timestamp an episode title down below, and keep watching. 200 subscribers is nothing to sneeze at, and I love every single one of them, and I'm so glad that I've had a chance to make these videos with my friends.
God, imagine! I really hope, and I love the subscribers, but I really hope that some dickhead doesn't go down there and comment on every single moment I make a jack off joke, because that will be like, it would just be me like, making jerk off jokes, and it would just be a whole compilation of like 14 minutes
There'd be 3 dozen timestamps on this video alone.
Well, there are a couple. I'll just give a couple of shout outs. There's a Cool Adi. He's been with us since the beginning. He doesn't comment. He doesn't comment on every video, but he watches pretty much everything we come out with. Thanks for watching. The Astro Buddies, they've been very supportive, and they watch a lot of our content. Pete from On a Retro Tip, he actually watches our stuff. There was Picture Product Studios. They were big supporters of the channel, which they've just celebrated their 10th year doing doing videos. So
Also,
Congratulations.
I think Gryffindor Girl or something like that. She also watches every single one.
yeah, I wonder who that is.
That's Donovan's YouTube. Check him out.
It-
It's him modeling pantyhose.
Oh, also Cyber Vampire.
Cyber Vampire, right.
Cyber Vampire, been a loyal supporter of the channel. Anyway, just thank all of you. We love all of you. And
Yes.
here's to 200 more subscribers. So see you in 2 years when we hit 400 subscribers. But no, seriously, thanks everyone. And as always, stay safe and play on.